Now recording.
Let's go. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't making that. In their heads, living free, I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM, making cheese like Mercedes-Benz. Whoa, yeah, please don't take offense. It isn't you, I'm just not interested in making friends. My biggest fear is finding out that this came and went. So go ahead, but I'm staying in. Okay, drop a song and pop up on your phone like I was YouTube. Connected to the fans without a hand, I did it Bluetooth. The only time I come up short is when they watching YouTube. Spinning with the drill, no wonder why my screws loose. Taking off and I can't stop.
It is Inside Eagles Redzone podcast, live here on Discord, live on Twitch, and available for download on all podcast networks. It is Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. It's Eric Williams, joined as always by Matt Nemo. Matt, what's going on?
Big E, you forgot to mention, we're live on TikTok, too.
Yeah, we're live on TikTok.
On the talk. But I'm doing well, Eric. It's been a bit since we did a show. We're back. We're 51 days from week 1 of the regular season, which is crazy. It's coming. It's coming quick. Dude, I'm excited. I hope you are too. I'm ready to kick ass. Let's go.
Yeah, and it's going to be a fun show. But Matt, before we get into anything, a couple things have happened since a lot of things have happened. But one thing that has to be addressed real quick is Joshua Harris. A couple days ago, he said that Washington football and Philly basketball is the same.
Yeah, fuck him. You know that's not true. He doesn't care about the Sixers. He cares about the commies. All right, whatever, bro. That's fine. But you already know that he does not care about the Sixers, so I just wish he would stop pretending that he does, because it is not true.
And something that was brought up today, seeing this today for the first time. This must have came out like yesterday or something like that. But C.J. Gardner-Johnson was asked about his comments about saying that the Eagles will never win another Super Bowl without him. And he did a live video podcast and basically said, yeah, I retract all my statements.
What a shock. Dude, the further we get, the further we distance ourselves from C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the more you just can't take the dude seriously. Good player, but he is at a clip going at a rate that he will talk himself out of the league within the next 2 years. So whatever he says, I don't care. He's bitter. He obviously wanted to be here. He wanted to be an Eagle. Wanted to continue his tenure with the Eagles. I don't think the defensive coordinator wanted him here. And he's on his 5th team in 5 years. So I just hope for his sake he does not talk himself out of the league, because I do think he is a good player. But to me, he's on that path.
Speaking of the defensive coordinator, Matt, we'll put this out there. Next Monday, 5 p.m. here live on Inside Eagles Red Zone. Matt was given a project over, I gave it to you, the last 2 months?
Yes.
Month after? So I had Matt dive into the Vic Fangio defense and to try to understand it a little bit more. So his findings will be uncovered next Monday, live here on this program. And a lot of the things that we've been talking about will be addressed. And Matt will say, yay, were we right? Nay, were we wrong? And a deep dive into the Vic Fangio into what Matt thinks Vic Fangio's head looks like
right.
inside that defense. But yeah, so tune in next Monday. But we'll be here all week. We're gonna start. We did it last year. We will dive into a bunch of these teams, actually all the NFL teams, and to kind of do the strengths, the weaknesses, what we see out of all these teams. As Matt said earlier, we have 51 days to week 1. Felt like just yesterday. It was right after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that is the truth.
For any of if you are new to the program, if you're listening live for the first time, thank you again. This is Inside Eagles Red Zone podcast. We are available on all major podcast platforms, so definitely subscribe, follow, and listen to the old episodes. We have tons and tons of old shows, so definitely check us out, subscribe, and just keep tuning in, because we are your Eagles content that you need to be locked in on. Trust me, I'm not just saying that because it's the podcast that we do, but I think we do very good stuff. And last year was a lot of fun, and I'm ready to, make it more fun, because guess what? This Eagles team is gonna be good.
Going to be good again.
And I'm ready for the NFL season. So let's start with the first team on the docket. It's the AFC East that we're starting with. And it's the Buffalo Bills, Matt, that we will start with. This Bills team going into the season, Matt, what do you feel about how last year ended for the Bills?
Honestly, prototypical Buffalo Bills fashion. They get very close and are unable to finish a deal and make plays when it matters the most.
Yeah. Do you see that? Now, 2024, they are 13-4 last year. And they were, again, eliminated in playoffs. Kansas City was the AFC opponent for Philadelphia. From what you've looked at from last year to this year, what do you feel about the roster going into this season?
It's more of the same. Like, realistically looking at... Okay, so defensively they upgraded and got another... Well, I don't know if it's an upgrade. They swap out Von Miller for Joey Bosa. They draft TJ Sanders. They draft Landon Jackson. They draft Deion Walker. The 6th round they go and draft Dorian Strong, cornerback. So they invested a decent amount of their draft capital into the defense. I don't think necessarily that defense is their problem, especially in playoff games. They lose these playoff games, especially to Kansas City, because the offense doesn't have enough. They have Josh Allen. Josh Allen, fantastic. Pretty solid offensive line. But if you look at their receiving core, it's more of the same. So, okay, they acquired in free agency. They brought in Palmer, Josh Palmer from the Chargers, who, not impressive. Laviska Shenault hasn't been impressive. Elijah Moore was solid in spurts last year with Cleveland. And they also brought in Christian Wilkerson. And then to bolster and add depth to the offensive line, they signed Kendrick Green from Houston. Their big issue is when it gets to playing Kansas City in the playoffs, their wide receivers don't have enough. And this is what doesn't make sense to me. Especially now, especially with all this quarterback talk you've heard since the season ended. And let's tie it back to the Eagles for a minute. There will be people that will sit here and knock Jalen Hurts for having talent around him. Okay, yes, sure. The Eagles are a very talented team. But if you are the Buffalo Bills, if you are the Baltimore Ravens, you should be constructing your roster to compete and be better than the Kansas City Chiefs. And in my opinion, none of these moves, none of these wide receiver additions, none of the offensive line additions, none of these put you over the top of Kansas City. Why would you not go out and get a number one wide receiver or address more draft capital into the wide receiver position with the amount of wide receivers that were pretty solid coming out of the class? Yes, you drafted Keon Coleman last year, but you need to construct your roster to be better than Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm sorry, I don't think Laviska Shenault, Josh Palmer, Elijah Moore, I don't think that does it for you. Look at Kansas City's defense. Like, this is, if you are the Buffalo Bills general manager, if you are Sean McDermott, if you are Josh Allen, your whole goal is to be better than Kansas City. You need to build a roster to compete with Kansas City. These wide receivers are not going to do it. Look at the defense that Kansas City has. They invested a lot of draft capital back in 2022, 2023 to build a young defense that is able... Okay, TikTok's reconnecting. Screw it. I don't care. Okay, we're back on TikTok. That's okay. But Kansas City invested a lot into their defense to be able to be a top tier. Hey, our offense might not be fantastic. We have Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in football. Let's build the defense up so they can, carry us and help us out if we don't have the offense to be over the top. Kansas City doesn't have that. Kansas City needs to build a roster that is better, or Buffalo needs to build a roster that is better than Kansas City. And I'm looking at this receiving core right now. Keon Coleman, Josh Palmer, Khalil Shakir are going to be your top three. You're going to win 12, 13 games in the regular season because your division sucks. But when you get into the playoffs, when you have to go and beat Baltimore, when you have to go beat Kansas City, and do you want to win a Super Bowl? That should be your ultimate goal. Are you better than Philadelphia? Are you better than who else could be at the top in the NFC with that receiving core? I don't think so. Josh Allen's great. My number 2 quarterback in the league. This is not enough to put yourself over the top. And I cannot comprehend why teams like Baltimore and teams like Buffalo are just okay with being average at wide receiver, average on the offensive line, average at running back, and thinking that's good enough. Our quarterback is able to put us on our back and carry us. I cannot comprehend that. I cannot comprehend that.
It's something that you kind of wonder what the thought process is on that.
To me, it is. We have the quarterback. Look, we sat through it with Donovan McNabb. Eagles fans, you sat through it with Donovan McNabb. The quarterback's good enough, so it'll be okay. Quarterback's good enough, he can take us there. Our quarterback is so good, he can take us over the top. And I say this to my Ravens fans every time they try to shit on Jalen Hurts. As a general manager, your job is to build a contender. Your job is to build a team that can win a Super Bowl. You should help your quarterback out. Make his life easier. Why would you not want to make his life easier? These GMs, especially Buffalo and Baltimore, are GMs that want to just put everything on the quarterback's shoulders and say, go ahead, take us to the promised land. If you don't have that, you don't have the talent. Like seriously, let me ask this question. If it is 4th and 5 in the AFC title game, which one of these wide receivers is Josh Allen going to throw to? Who is he going to put his... Because we know the Eagles' answer. We know the Eagles' answer. It's going to A.J. Brown. Like, there's so much trust with that wide receiver right there. They'll run a fly route with A.J. Brown on 4th and 5. And he will throw it up, and he knows A.J. Brown's making the catch.
Yeah, I know.
I just saw Tommy's comment come up. The tight end that's 30 yards downfield. That's exactly what they did against Kansas City in the AFC title game this year. And guess what? The tight end dropped the fucking ball.
Yeah.
They don't have
and the Ravens
that go-to guy.
The same thing with the Ravens.
Same thing with Baltimore.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes at least has Travis Kelce. And, okay, is Travis Kelce a little long in the tooth? Yeah, but guess what? Patrick Mahomes at least knows, okay, I need this. I need a guy to go to. I have a guy to go to. And we will definitely get in depth with Kansas City when we get to the AFC West.
Yeah.
But you have Josh Allen, who is a fantastic quarterback. You have a good enough defense. But unless this defense that they have turns into a historical defense, I'm telling you right now, this offense does not have enough to beat a healthy Kansas City Chiefs. They might beat them in the regular season. That's great. But everyone should know, and if you don't know by now, that the Kansas City Chiefs play their best ball in the playoffs, then you don't understand the game. The Kansas City Chiefs know they can go 10-7, 11-6, and make the playoffs. They don't need home field advantage, whatever, because they know they can turn it on in the playoffs, and they know they're going to be a tough out. They're going to be a super tough out when it gets to playoff time. Buffalo does not have that grace. They haven't built that built-in credibility to trust a Keon Coleman, a Josh Palmer, a Khalil Shakir in big moments in the playoff games. Because guess what? They're there every year, and they lose every single year. This is Buffalo. They haven't made it to a Super Bowl in 30 years. They can't get past Kansas City. They should be building their team and adding talent to the offense to make Josh Allen's life easier and to get them over the top, and they're not doing it.
Yeah. No, they don't. Like, looking at this offense, it doesn't have enough spark.
No, that they are a team. All these receivers are the same player. All these receivers are the same type of guy. Sure, Khalil Shakir, better hands. Keon Coleman might turn into your possession receiver that you could develop some trust into. But these guys they're all the same. They are all the same. And they don't have a guy that can put them over the top. They're going to put up good numbers in the regular season. It shouldn't be about that for Buffalo. Buffalo shouldn't be worried about, oh, cool, we won 13 games in the regular season. You've been there. You've done that. You do that year after year. You can't beat Kansas City when it matters. And they don't add enough talent to help put them over the top. And it's a disservice to the quarterback. It's kind of a disservice to the head coach. It's a disservice to the fan base. But year after year, they're going to buy in. Hey, we have an easy division. That's great. We'll lose 3 to 4. Well, they'll lose 4 games a year. They'll go 13-4. They'll be a 1 or 2 seed. But when it comes down to crunch time, when you need the receiver, to get you important yards over the middle of the field or on a big third down or a big fourth down. These are not proven guys that can go out there and win a 50-50 ball, can go out there and break a tackle and get the first down and keep the drive going. And time again, it'll come down to Josh Allen and his legs, and he will need to play perfect football to try to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the second round or the AFC title game. And guess what? We've seen it year after year after year. He can't do it.
Yeah, no, it's criminal. I really think it's like
it is.
The more and more you talk about it, and the more and more I'm hearing it, it's like frustration. Like I would be like,
we as Eagles fans at our age watched it happen.
yeah,
We watched it happen. We watched them go to 4 straight NFC title games. And guess what? The year they finally went out and got a number 1 wide receiver, they made it to the Super Bowl.
yeah,
You cannot keep... The dumbest thing you can do is run the same type of crap out there year in and year out and expect a different result. Especially, and it's not a knock on Josh Allen, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. And I'm sorry. I know people like to go, oh, yeah. People will doubt and will like to doubt how good Patrick Mahomes is. He is the clear-cut number 1 best quarterback in football. It's Brady, and it's like Brady and Manning. Brady could overcome not having elite players at every position on offense because he was that damn good. And there were years where he had a good defense, and guess what? That does help your quarterback out a bit. But even this defense is solid. They're going to be pretty good. But they don't have the offense that can be better than Kansas City's defense. At least right now. On paper, looking at it, July 15, 2025, maybe Keon Coleman emerges this year and becomes an absolute freaking stud. And maybe they can unlock Josh Palmer. But they don't have the offense on paper, the receiving core on paper to beat Kansas City, and that should be their number 1 goal.
yeah. Is there anything else you want to get into about this Bills offense?
No.
All right, let's get to the defensive side of the ball. Let's talk about what they've done on defense. You mentioned Joey Bosa. They drafted Maxwell Harrison. What do you feel about Buffalo's defense? I mean, they drafted Jackson, Deion Walker. What do you feel about their defense?
I do like to pick Maxwell Harrison, solid cornerback. I still like Taylor Rapp. I like Matt Milano when he's healthy. I think Joey Bosa. You lost a good edge rusher in Von Miller. You replace him with Joey Bosa, who's still very productive. I like their front. They're a very solid unit. Do they have that guy that can take over? I think that's a big question. If Harrison can show you some promise and play pretty well, that obviously helps. Because if you see the impact of having a good outside cornerback can do for a defense, it helps. You're going up against good wide receivers and good passing games week in and week out. And Harrison showed he could be a ball hawk and create some turnovers. But they're going to be heavily reliant on Rousseau having another great year, Ed Oliver being dominant, and Joey Bosa staying healthy, along with Matt Milano. Milano got hurt last year, and when he was out, you saw that in the middle of the defense, the second level of that defense, take a hit. Joey Bosa can be productive, but he needs to stay healthy. Because if they don't have him, then they're missing another good edge rusher. And I think I like them going depth with T.J. Sanders and Landon Jackson. Second and third round of the draft, trying to add depth to the edge rushers. If they can be impactful and be productive year one, okay, then you got a little help. But I think that addition of Joey Bosa is being very reliant on a guy that hasn't proved he can stay healthy for multiple years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. I don't know.
They're a solid unit. It's solid.
Yeah.
Milano's a good player. Christian Benford had a good year last year. Rousseau's good. I like Ed Oliver. But edge rushing.
They have a defensive-minded head coach.
You got a defensive-minded head coach. McDermott gets those guys prepared. But you're going to be reliant on a young T.J. Sanders, Landon Jackson. You see how important having edge rusher depth is in modern NFL. Can those guys come in and contribute year one? If so, then cool. Then they're going to be a top 10, top 12 unit because Teron Johnson, he's solid, okay. Taylor Rapp's okay. How does he fit into what McDermott wants to do? That's going to be interesting. But I think they have a solid unit. It's not a unit that's going to kill them. And their front four can get after it, be good against the run, and should be able to get you some pressure. But a little bit of an older unit as well. If they stay healthy, top 12 defense, and they should be okay. But I don't know if they have that difference maker in that front seven or in the back end.
Yeah. And if anybody in the chat room has anything to see. I see our boy Tommy's back, by the way.
Big Tommy's back.
From his, yeah. Yeah, so if anybody has anything in the comments, we are live on Discord. We're doing some things on TikTok. I see some goof decided to post that we were, some stupid things.
Said the Eagles are horrible. That's A-okay, baby. Super Bowl champs. So horrible, they won the bowl.
Yeah, we're so horrible, we won the ball. Yep. We have absolute zero ball knowledge being said here. Okay. Yep. Good.
I love it.
I love it. We got people jumping in, jumping out. So, yes. I was told there's a lot of toxicity. Toxicity on
I say
TikTok,
okay
but that's
with me.
okay.
That ain't toxic. If you want to be a freaking moron, be a moron, baby.
Yep. Be a moron. We'll call it out. Call you out. We just won't call you by name because you're not good enough to be recognized. Anything else that there's
Well, I'm hoping their defense is better because they were tied for 26 overall last year.
Yeah.
They were 11th in points allowed.
Yeah. It's wild they had still 13, 20, you said 26 in defense?
Yeah.
And to still win 13 games?
Yeah. Well, look at that division. I mean, look at the other team in their division that we're talking about today.
Yeah. It's funny because we're kind of just going over the Bills here, but like when we get to the next team, we're gonna be laughing, and then we have two teams tomorrow that we're gonna be laughing at.
Yes, very true.
One the team specifically I'm gonna laugh at because they have the head coach that thinks he's God's gift to running a track team. So we'll piss off some Dolphins fans tomorrow. Piss off.
Oh yeah, for real. Tomorrow we got Dolphins and Pats.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll piss off any Pats fans. I don't know if
No,
they're
I think they
delusional or not. I
understand.
think they understand. But Dolphins fans might get a little mad.
A little bit.
Might be.
We're
Just a
mad.
tad.
Yeah. So, let's get into, by the way, I think that number, that over under for Buffalo was what, 11.5? Is that what I had?
Yes, I believe so.
Let's say 11.5 on the over under, and I think we both were cranky. Yeah, it was 11.5. Time, it was plus 125 on the under, minus 145 on the over. That was when we did that show with Chris. Let's get into New York. Let's get into the Jets.
Let's dive into the Jets.
Okay, so they just gave big money to Garrett Wilson. They gave big money to Sauce Gardner. Both of these guys drafted by Joe Douglas.
Yep.
Joe Douglas guys. Joe Douglas not there anymore. They moved on from him. He is now working with Philadelphia. Looking at the Jets, before you even get into the offensive defense, is the Jets a big shit show?
I think they're coming off being a big shit show. I like the hire of Aaron Glenn, and I think it was a necessary hire because you need to. But obviously, last year was a giant shit show. And really, the last 3 years of Robert Saleh's tenure was a giant shit show, especially when you go all in on Aaron Rodgers. You think you're a quarterback away. You go all in for a 39-year-old quarterback. He gets injured his first drop back. And then last year was last year. So I think they are trying to move on, turn the page from the shit show to the clean chapter, reset the culture. And I think Aaron Glenn can do that. I think that is, if realistically, if you're a New York Jets fan and if you're the owner, if you're Woody Johnson, you need to go, Aaron, I don't care how many wins you get this year. I need you to just stabilize all of this. Because you kept hearing, oh, this defense is good, they just need a quarterback. No, they need a lot more. There's a lot of questionable talent on this team. You should not be concerned about winning 6 or 7 games this year. You want to reestablish the culture, find out who is going to be committed to the rebuild and who you want to build around. Then next year you try to get a little bit better and find some pieces. And then year 3, year 4, you look to make that push and build yourself into a winner.
Yeah. Yeah, and Tommy in the chat said it was a 3-year. It's
Yep.
a 3-year process.
And Tommy,
So,
I agree with your second comment. I think Glenn, I agree 100%. I think Glenn's there to set the tone, change stuff over. Then when they're ready to win, I think they move on and get another, probably an offensive-minded head coach in there, depending who they have at quarterback at the time. But sometimes, I know it's very difficult in sports, in modern sports, to understand that, sometimes when the building is on fire, there are times where you have to put the fire out and take a step back and build it up from the ground floor until you're ready to take the next step forward and and remodel the house, so to speak. It's very difficult in modern sports because fans want win now. There are pressure on management, win now, win now, win now. But, like, there are times where you have to literally look at what is going on and say, okay, we can't. You cannot, like, the Jets put themselves in this position. And I'm not even the biggest Robert Saleh fan. But what they did, like, Saleh and Joe Douglas were building something solid. To go out and just throw that away, when you get an Aaron Rodgers, you throw that all away. Because you don't get Aaron Rodgers for, hey, we want to draft you and develop you. That way, year 3, year 4, and when, if you're good enough to get a second deal, then we're ready to be a contender year in and year out. The Jets were 2 years away from being a legit contender and said, fuck that, we're bringing in Aaron Rodgers, we're Super Bowl bound. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. And then you set yourself up for this. Where you were 2 years away from being a contender if you found yourself a young quarterback to grow with, now you literally are starting over. And you reset that clock. So the 2 years that Robert Saleh took to build and start putting the pieces together and move forward incrementally, you go and sign Aaron Rodgers and force that on the team, you take all of that progress away. Because it turns into a shit show. Now I hope they understand that, hey, we burned the building down. Now we need to start from the foundation up. And hopefully they give Aaron Glenn like 3-4 years to do that. And then, hey, if they win that 4th year and you think he could do it, then cool. Then you keep him. But if not, then you can move on and get an offensive-minded head coach and really start the building process.
And you say an offensive-minded head coach, but the thing is that, we've seen what the culture is. The culture has done to these teams, and especially in Philadelphia, where you could get an offensive-minded head coach once the culture is built up and have somebody in that building. Or you could just go with the offensive coordinators. I mean, a lot of these teams do it where they go for the hot offensive coordinators as the up and coming, and then they just get plucked.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then you just become a system where, like, as bad as like Steichen was, has been in Indy. I don't think that's all. I think that's for different reasons. But now you see Kellen Moore gets plucked from Philadelphia. There's offensive-minded coaches leaving. Ben Johnson, in Troy. Aaron Glenn was in Detroit. Like, so you get like those minds. Maybe the Jets could keep Glenn for the culture, and then just find whoever could help the next, whoever the quarterback is.
For sure.
Fields is there, but like, he's not going to be the quarterback in 2 years for the Jets.
No, not unless he really shows them something this year. But
and then you're looking.
I don't personally see it, but
like they don't have the quarterback on that roster that would be the quarterback.
No,
like,
not when they're ready.
Tyrod Taylor's pretty much there just to be the backup. They don't have a if they're bad this year, and they could go get one of these top quarterbacks coming out this year. Well, then there's your answer. What is Fields? I haven't looked. What does Fields' contract look like?
Let's see.
Was it a 1-year deal?
Yeah, I think this is.
Because I do see him being here for at least 2 years, for this year and next year. And you draft if you draft a quarterback, then Fields could be the guy that. Depending on what he does this year.
2-year, $40 million contract with the Jets.
So 2 years. Okay, so it's
$30 million guaranteed. Yeah, so he'll be there 2 years.
Okay, so that's the plan. The Jets, have him for this year. They didn't like what they probably didn't like what the quarterback class this year.
No, as we really went through, not high on the class this year. I think next year is the year to get a quarterback. So
Yeah. Yeah, Tommy might be right. Tommy might be on.
they could if they're bad enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Then yeah. A lot of roster turnover for the offense this year. Reynolds is there. Tyler Johnson they picked up from the Rams.
Yep.
Myers is there from and then they drafted Membu. They drafted Mason Taylor. They still have Breece Hall. Braylon Allen kind of showed you something a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I have them at 5 wins. I mean,
yeah, if they win 4 or 5 games,
yeah,
they should be happy with that.
Yeah, because it's all about what they do next year.
Yeah, and I think Jermaine Johnson at right end, Will McDonald. I did sign Derek Nandi.
I was gonna get that. I was gonna get that in a second.
But I think realistically, looking at this offensive line, like John Simpson at left guard's a little weak. Joe Tittman's a little weak at center. Elijah Vera Tucker's okay. Olu Fashanu, he was okay. Membu should be okay. So they have a couple pieces. I still think wide receiver wise, I'm not big on Josh Reynolds. They have big bad Alan Lazard. There's just not a lot of talent across the board. I like Mason Taylor. If Membu works out, then you have the right side of your offensive line's pretty good. They got to fix, you're really, I think, the weak spot of that offensive line is center and left guard. So your offensive line could be okay. You should be able to, you got Breece Hall, who's a productive runner. How do they work Justin Fields and what he can do into that? Because I think that's a big thing with Justin Fields. He's okay. But there's been zero progression from year 1 to year 4. And that's just going... I know we've kind of brought this up once or twice.
How much of that is the system that he was in? Or the talent? How much of that is talent that he has? His actual physical talent?
I kind of liked him coming out, but I don't think he is a quarterback.
What was your realistic expectation from him coming out?
He could be a bottom tier starter. Because I like the arm and I like the speed, but I don't think he's a guy that can read. I don't think he understands defenses.
And I was gonna say
I know the situation in Chicago was shit. But it's from year 1 to year. Dude, he's the same player he was in college. He can throw a deep ball and he can run.
Yeah.
He can't throw a guy open. He can't sit back there, dissect the defense, and figure out where to go. He is this guy open.
Yeah.
And you get away with that at Ohio State because look who you're throwing to. You're throwing to Garrett Wilson. You're throwing to Jackson Smith and Jigba. You're throwing to freaking NFL wide receivers. You're throwing to Chris Olave. But in the NFL, I like Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's good. But he's not going to be 10 yards open. He's not 7 yards open like he is in college. And
Right.
I just feel like that's Fields' thing. Fields is, if he's open, I can let it rip, but I don't think he can throw a guy open, and I don't think he understands defenses pre-snap or post-snap. And that just limits, one, as a quarterback, it limits how productive you are, and two, as an offense, it limits what you are capable of doing as an offense when you're limited to your quarterback seeing someone open or a play being broken and him having to make things happen.
And that is not coachable. That's just him.
You would need a legit... No, because you know what? I think Darnold could read defenses. I think his first 2-3 years with no offensive line scared him and put ghosts in his head, where I just think Fields hasn't developed. Maybe if you get with a quarterback guru, he can kind of help that. But I think at this point, there comes a time where especially if you've started a good amount of football, there comes a time where you develop tendencies, and those tendencies are tendencies, and you can't coach them out of a guy.
So you get to probably about year 3. You probably get to about year 4.
Year 3, year 4, you kind of have an idea of what a guy is. Yes, you can get better at certain things, but if it's I'm going to say this and it might sound weird, but if it's simple stuff, like that, like reading a defense, seeing what the defense is showing you pre-snap and being able to see it as the play develops, throwing to a spot, throwing a guy open. If you're not capable of doing that, you're not going to succeed at the NFL level. Because that's hard to coach a guy into doing that. Throwing to a guy that's wide open, or hey, we run a streak route and he beat the corner off the line of scrimmage. Boom. Okay, cool. Every quarterback can do that. If you can't, you shouldn't sniff the NFL. But if you can't throw it to a spot, understand, I have a 3-step drop, I have a 5-step drop. I'm seeing cover 2, I'm seeing cover 3. I need to throw the ball here. My receiver is going to be there. Like, if you can't do that, you're a backup. Like, I'm not a big Brock Purdy guy, but he can throw to, like, he understands conceptually what Shanahan's passing concepts are. Oh, hey, cool. I'm hitting the 5th step of my drop. My receiver's running a deep in route. Once I hit that step of my drop, I can throw the ball here. My receiver's going to meet my receiver here. Fields wasn't asked to really do that in college, and he hasn't been able to do that in the NFL. And now that you're in year 4, year 5, that is hard to coach out of a player, especially because he's already developed these tendencies of, oh crap, my read's not here, let me run. Oh crap, my read's not here, let me run. Like, it's very rare that quarterbacks adjust to becoming better at that the later they get in their career, especially if it is year 5 and they're on their last legs. Because look, Fields is looking, I have 2 years. I need to make as many plays as I can because I have 2 years, or I'm probably a career backup, or I'm out of the league. So instead of let me make my progressions, let me throw to this spot, he is probably going to go, my read's not here. I know I can get 10 yards with my legs, so let me run. And that's all fine and good, but you're not going to be a winner, a consistent winner in the NFL unless you're able to make progressions, throw to spots, throw guys open, or throw that 50-50 ball. Because there's a vast difference in NFL open and college open. If you get a 2-yard window in the NFL, You have to trust your arm and trust your receiver and fit that ball in there. You got to let it rip. Because if you're just relying on your legs, you're going to get hurt. You're going to miss a lot of big plays. And you're going to cost your team games.
Now, Matt, when you just mentioned that for the last couple minutes, how many of these quarterbacks in this league will this also pertain to when we talk about these teams?
I think it'll be Stroud. Jane Daniels will need to prove it in year 2. Caleb needs to prove it. Goff kind of needs to prove it again. There's to me, you're 5 solid guys. Maybe Herbert, Hurts, Baker. Those guys that have kind of done it for multiple years. I think they're guys that you can kind of trust. Everyone else is kind of in this same hodgepodge of...
Mahomes with Allen.
Yeah, Mahomes, Allen, Jackson,
Hurts.
Baker, Hurts, Stafford. They're guys that have like... Jordan Love needs to prove it.
No, I'm saying he's been one of those prove it.
Love needs to prove it. Trevor Lawrence needs to prove it.
I think
Love and Trevor Lawrence are the two that need to prove it the most.
The most, yeah, I was going to say. Jordan.
Because Stroud's year 3, you want to see... There was a lot of regression in trusting his arm, trusting what he saw.